Have you ever wondered in silence, in the calm of the night, where we go when the heart stops beating? I'm not talking about philosophical theories or scientific assumptions. I'm talking about a map. A detailed, vivid, and terrifying map of what exists on the other side. A map that was given to a young Polish nun in the early 20th century. And what if I told you that she didn't just hear about the fate of souls, but was taken in spirit to walk through those places? She was there. She saw the fire that purifies, the abyss from which there is no return, and the light that surpasses all understanding. She conversed with the dead, felt the despair of the damned, and witnessed the happiness of the elect. Most people live and die without having access to this vision, to this eyewitness testimony of life after death. But today that changes. Today, you will have access to what was revealed to Saint Faustina Kowalska, the Secretary of Divine Mercy. Prepare yourself, because what you are about to hear is not a simple story. It is a testimony that the Catholic Church took seriously, a diary that details the 3 eternal dwellings that await each one of us. And the first stop on this supernatural itinerary is neither heaven nor hell. It is a place of waiting, a misty place full of fire and longing. Think of a place where time does not run as it does here. A place bathed in a dense mist, a mist that is not cold but hot, heavy, laden with the sighs of countless souls. Within that mist, flames of a fire that does not consume matter, but licks the very essence of the soul, purifying it. It was in that place that Saint Faustina found herself by divine order. She describes it in her diary in paragraph 20. She saw a multitude of suffering souls. They were praying, but with a particularity. They prayed fervently, but with no benefit for themselves. Only we, the living, can help them. The echo of their prayers was like a constant lament, a symphony of repentance. Faustina, moved by compassion that overflowed from her heart, did not hesitate. She asked those souls what their greatest torment was. And the answer she received, unanimously, was not the fire, not the darkness, not physical or spiritual pain in the sense we know. Their greatest torment was a single, overwhelming emotion, the yearning for God. An infinite thirst, a cosmic nostalgia for the Creator whom they could already, in some way, glimpse, but could not yet reach. Imagine loving someone with all the strength of your existence, knowing that person is right there, behind a thin veil, waiting for you, and yet being prevented from touching them, from embracing them. That is the pain of purgatory. It is the pain of anticipation, the agony of waiting for supreme love. Faustina understood that every sin, every imperfection, every earthly attachment that was not purified in life becomes a weight that delays that encounter. The fire she saw was not a fire of vengeance, but a fire of love. A love so intense, so pure, that it burns away everything that is not love. It is the mercy of God acting like a goldsmith, purifying the gold of the soul until it perfectly reflects the divine image. And the most impressive thing is the connection this place has with our world. The souls in purgatory, though powerless to help themselves, are not forgotten. They depend on us. In another passage of her diary, in paragraph 1738, Jesus says directly to Faustina, "Enter into purgatory often, because they need you there." This phrase is a call, a mission. Every prayer, every mass offered, every small sacrifice made with love for a soul in purgatory is like a drop of fresh water on thirsty lips, a relief that accelerates the moment of their liberation. Faustina took this mission so seriously that she offered to suffer on behalf of those souls. She felt their pains, their anguishes, and united them to the sufferings of Christ on the cross, transforming everything into an act of redemption. She became a bridge between earth and purgatory, a messenger of hope for those who wait. She relates that, although the suffering is immense, the certainty of salvation is what sustains them. They know that, at the end of the purification, the door of heaven will open. This hope is the balm that prevents them from falling into despair. And that is why our intercession is so vital. time for them is different, but the pain is real. With every prayer, with every act of charity in their name, the veil becomes thinner, the mist dissipates, and the soul draws closer to the light. It is an act of pure mercy that we can and must practice. But this journey through the afterlife did not stop in that realm of purification. God had something more to show her, something she needed to witness so that the world could never say it was not warned. By God's order, an angel led her to the abysses of hell. And what she describes in paragraph 741 of her diary is more terrible than any horror movie could conceive. She wrote, "Today, led by an angel, I was taken to the depths of hell. It is a place of great torture, and how great is its expanse." She takes the trouble to record this not to terrorize us, but out of obedience, and so that no one can have the excuse of saying that hell does not exist, or that no one knows what it is like. What she saw was an architecture of despair, a geography of eternal pain, divided into specific torments. The first and most fundamental torment, the root of all others, is the loss of God. It is not a yearning as in purgatory, where there is hope. It is the definitive loss, the consciousness of having forever rejected the only good, the only source of happiness. It is an absolute void, a black hole in the soul that nothing can fill, and the certainty that this condition will never, ever change. The second torment is the continual remorse of conscience. The soul is forced to relive, in an infinite loop, every sin, every bad choice, every opportunity to love that was despised. It sees with unbearable clarity the good it lost and the evil it committed. It is one's own mind becoming its torture chamber, with no escape, no distraction. The third torment, as she describes, is the certainty that this fate will never change. Hope, the slightest crack of light, is completely extinguished. Eternity stretches out not as a concept, but as a palpable reality, an ocean of endless time, where every second is filled with the same and immutable agony. The fourth torment is the fire. But Faustina is clear. It is a fire different from earthly fire. It is a purely spiritual fire, which burns the soul without consuming it. It is the fire of God's wrath, a pain that penetrates the deepest essence of being. The fifth torment is a continuous darkness and a horrible, suffocating smell. Despite the darkness, the demons and the souls of the damned see each other, and they see all the evil, both that of others and their own. It is a forced coexistence with pure evil, without masks, without disguises. The sixth torment is the constant company of Satan, the incessant presence of the one who deceived them, the personification of hatred and despair, who delights in the suffering of his victims. And finally, the seventh and most terrible torment, absolute despair, hatred of God, blasphemies, curses. The soul, in its agony, does not turn towards repentance, but towards a deep and eternal hatred against its Creator, whom it blames for its state. It is the final rebellion, the seal of its damnation. Faustina also notes something crucial. These are the torments common to all the damned, but there are special torments destined for specific souls. They are the torments of the senses. Each soul is tormented in a horrible and indescribable way in that which it sinned most. There are dens and abysses of torture, where one's suffering is distinct from the other. She would have died just from seeing those tortures if the omnipotence of God had not sustained her. She writes this so that every soul knows that it will be tormented for all eternity with the sense with which it sinned. It is a terrible, precise, and implacable justice. She describes that most of the souls who were there were those who did not believe that hell existed. They fell into the trap of presumption, thinking that God's mercy was a license to sin, or that hell was just a metaphor. The shock of reality is what destroys them. Hell is a place of great confusion and chaos, but also of a macabre order, where each one receives the just retribution for their final choice. The vision of hell is a cry of alarm, a megaphone of God's mercy that, before punishing, warns. After witnessing such horror, anyone's heart could close forever. But Faustina's journey was not yet complete. After showing the final consequence of the rejection of love, God needed to show the final reward of the acceptance of that love. On November 27th, 1936, Faustina was taken in spirit to a place that defies human language. She was in heaven, and her words, although limited, attempt to give us a glimpse of the reality that awaits us. She wrote, "Today, I was in heaven in spirit and saw its incomparable beauties and the happiness that awaits us after death." The first thing that impressed her was the immensity and beauty of the dwelling of God and of the saints. She saw how all creatures incessantly give praise and glory to God. The happiness of being immersed in that ocean of worship was so great that, according to her, if God had not strengthened her, her soul could not bear so much joy. The source of this happiness, the center of everything, is the vision of the essence of God. It is not seeing an image or a representation, but contemplating God face to face as He is. From this source springs happiness for all creatures, because everything created finds its fullness and its purpose in Him. In that place, there is no more pain, no more yearning, no more fear. All suffering is forgotten. She describes an inconceivable love, a love that unites all the elect souls. Each soul participates in the happiness of the others. There is no envy, no competition. The joy of one is the joy of all, in a perfect communion of love. She conversed with God about what surprised her the most, that there are souls who still offend and reject Him on earth, even in the face of such a promise. And God's response was that the freedom of the human will is a sacred gift, even if that freedom leads to one's own perdition. Faustina understood that heaven is not just a place, but a state of perfect union with God. It is the fulfillment of all the deepest desires of the human heart. It is peace, joy, and love in their purest and most infinite form. She saw the saints, the martyrs, the virgins, all shining with their own light, a reflection of God's glory, but each with their unique beauty. And in the center of everything, radiating a mercy that sustains all creation, was the Holy Trinity. Upon returning from that vision, she felt a deep nostalgia for heaven, a desire to leave this earthly exile to join the definitive homeland. But she understood her mission, to live on earth with her eyes fixed on heaven, and to use the knowledge she received to remind the world of God's infinite mercy, which offers us heaven, but also warns us about the terrible reality of hell. Thus, St. Faustina's map is complete. 3 possible destinies, traced by our choices in life. Purgatory, a passage of purification by the fire of love for those who died in God's friendship, but were still imperfect. Hell, an abyss of eternal despair for those who, in full consciousness and freedom, rejected God to the end. And heaven, the communion of endless love and joy with God and all the saints. Her vision is not a fairy tale, nor a horror story for children. It is an urgent call to conversion. It is a reminder that every second of our life is a choice between the selfishness that leads to darkness and the love that leads to the light. What will you do with this information? Will you continue living as if tomorrow were guaranteed and life after death were a distant abstraction? Or will you allow this eyewitness testimony to change the way you see every decision, every word, every thought? The choice, as always, is yours. If this map of the afterlife, revealed to St. Faustina, made you reflect, if it touched your heart in some way, then this message has fulfilled its purpose. But don't let it end here. Share this video with someone you love, with someone who may be lost or needs a reminder of what really matters. And most importantly, leave your comment below. Which of the 3 dwellings impressed you the most or made you think? Your reflection can help other people who are on this same path of questioning. And if you want to continue exploring the great mysteries of faith and spirit, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because our next journey will be even deeper. Remember, we're not alone on this walk. God's mercy always has its arms open, waiting for our return. Until next time, delving deeper into the description of purgatory, the pain of the yearning for God, which is the greatest torment, is accompanied by the pain of purification. Faustina describes that, although the fire is terrible, it is bearable because of the certainty of salvation. What truly consumes them is the consciousness of the lost opportunities of the time wasted on earth that could have been used to love and serve God. They see themselves with brutal clarity, recognizing the justice of their suffering. Purgatory is, in essence, the acceptance of God's love that purifies. It is the last act of mercy before glory. The souls are at peace, despite the pain, because they know they are on the right path. They rejoice in the certainty that the door of heaven is open, but they need to pay the last debt of love and justice. The intercession of the living is the only relief that can shorten this time. That is why the Church teaches us to pray for the faithful departed. It is an act of charity that unites us to these suffering souls. Faustina saw that the souls in purgatory are grateful for every prayer, for every sacrifice. They become our intercessors in heaven, once released. It is an exchange of love and mercy that benefits everyone. Faustina's vision reminds us that death is not the end of community, but a transformation of it, expanding the description of hell. The horror of hell, according to Faustina, lies in its irreversibility. The loss of God is not just an absence, but an active pain, a hole that screams to be filled. The remorse of conscience is amplified by the vision of the demons, who mock and delight in the suffering. The spiritual fire, which is the fourth torment, is the manifestation of the divine justice that the soul rejected. It is the soul itself burning in its hatred and despair. The fifth torment, the darkness and the horrible smell, is the denial of all God's beauty and goodness. It is the eternal coexistence with the ugliness of sin. Faustina emphasizes that hell is not an empty place. She saw a multitude of souls, and most of them were those who, in life, doubted the existence of hell. The shock of reality is what paralyzes them. She saw that the caverns of hell are different, adapted to the sins committed. Those who sinned through lust suffer in the senses of the flesh. Those who sinned through avarice suffer in deprivation and eternal greed. It is the law of spiritual talion. Faustina's vision is a call to responsibility. It is not about a God who condemns, but about souls who condemn themselves by rejecting the love and mercy offered until the last instant. Detailing heaven. The vision of heaven is the antithesis of hell. Where there is despair, there is joy. Where there is hatred, there is love. Where there is darkness, there is light. Faustina describes that the happiness of heaven is the full satisfaction of all desires. There is nothing more to desire, because God is everything. The contemplation of the Holy Trinity is the summit of happiness. She saw the hierarchy of the saints, each shining with a different glory, but all united in a single chorus of praise. The joy of one saint does not diminish the joy of another, but increases it. It is the communion of saints in its most perfect form. Heaven is the realization of divine mercy. It is the home for which we were created. Faustina saw the Virgin Mary in all her glory, interceding incessantly for sinners on earth. She saw the angels, the heavenly choirs, and the perfect order that governs the universe. The vision of heaven is the proof that it is worth fighting, worth suffering, worth loving. It is the promise that the pain of this life is temporary, but the glory of heaven is eternal. Faustina's description is an invitation to live earthly life with the perspective of eternity. Every act of love, every prayer, every sacrifice is a brick in the construction of our eternal dwelling. Thus, St. Faustina's map is complete. 3 possible destinies, traced by our choices in life. Purgatory, a passage of purification by the fire of love for those who died in God's friendship, but were still imperfect. Hell, an abyss of eternal despair for those who, in full consciousness and freedom, rejected God to the end. And heaven, the communion of endless love and joy with God and all the saints. Her vision is not a fairy tale, nor a horror story for children. It is an urgent call to conversion. It is a reminder that every second of our life is a choice. A choice between the selfishness that leads to darkness and the love that leads to the light. What will you do with this information? Will you continue living as if tomorrow were guaranteed and life after death were a distant abstraction? Or will you allow this eyewitness testimony to change the way you see every decision, every word, every thought? The choice, as always, is yours. If this map of the afterlife, revealed to Saint Faustina, made you reflect, if it touched your heart in some way, then this message has fulfilled its purpose. But don't let it end here. Share this video with someone you love, with someone who may be lost or needs a reminder of what really matters. And most importantly, leave your comment below. Which of the 3 dwellings impressed you the most or made you think? Your reflection can help other people who are on this same path of questioning. And if you want to continue exploring the great mysteries of faith and spirit, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because our next journey will be even deeper. Remember, we are not alone on this walk. God's mercy always has its arms open, waiting for our return. Until next time, the relevance of these visions for our time cannot be underestimated. We live in an era of skepticism, where the idea of an eternal destiny is often ridiculed or ignored. The diary of Saint Faustina, with its rawness and its beauty, serves as a powerful antidote to this spiritual indifference. It forces us to confront the reality that life does not end with the last breath. What Faustina saw is not just a historical account of a mystical nun. It is a timeless reminder that our choices have eternal consequences. The vision of Purgatory teaches us the importance of charity and intercession, transforming death into an act of communion. The vision of hell warns us of the danger of presumption and the conscious rejection of God's love. A danger as real today as it was in 1936. And the vision of heaven offers us the unshakable hope that full happiness is possible and is our final destiny. The central message of Faustina is the divine mercy, which is the common thread that unites these 3 dwellings. It is mercy that offers heaven, that allows purification in purgatory, and that, out of justice, respects the soul's final choice in hell. Heaven is triumphant mercy, purgatory is purifying mercy, and hell is rejected mercy. The Polish nun left us a legacy that transcends religion, speaking directly to the human soul about love, justice, and eternity. She invites us to live each day under the perspective of eternity, not to waste the time we have been given, and to trust fully in the love of God, which is greater than our sin. The choice of where we will spend eternity is being made now, at this very moment, in every small decision we make. The map is drawn. The path is before us. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.